5 Habits of Hit Songwriters. In this lesson, we'll learn why the best songwriters consistently do these 5 things. First, listen to all genres of music. Second, focus on bite-sized pieces. Third, read books. Fourth, set aside time regularly. And fifth, keep a notebook or recorder handy. So let's jump in. The first habit of a hit songwriter is to listen to all genres of music. When you expose yourself to new music, you open the door to new ideas. Expose yourself to as many genres as possible. Buy some of the top hit songs in country, hip-hop, pop, indie rock, and then study them. Even if they're not your favorite style, you're going to learn a lot. In fact, the less you like a song, oftentimes the more you have to actively listen to understand what makes it a hit. And the more variety of music your creative brain experiences, the more eclectic your ideas will be. Second, respect comes before learning. You need to respect the song, and not just the songs that you like or the artists you love or the genre that you think is cool. Every single song you listen to can teach you something about your craft. You may hate Britney Spears or Taylor Swift, but behind them is a team of the most expensive and successful songwriters in the world. So even if you don't like their music, surely you must be able to learn something from them or about their songs or about their writing process. However small or large, from structure to melodies, from how chords fit together to just the journey of a song, it's all there open for you to study. Thirdly, everything is relevant, and I mean everything. Never think that a song is beneath you or irrelevant to your craft. Once you open your mind to this idea, your songwriting DNA will begin to soak up so many new things, not only every day, but every minute of every day. Maybe something is playing on the supermarket PA system while you're there buying milk. What is it? Why does it sound like that? What are the instruments doing? What is the melody doing? You see, asking questions, curiosity, this is your greatest learning tool. And you can even take it a step further. You can say, why is it popular? What aspects can you incorporate into your next song? And who is the audience versus your audience? So let's move on. The second habit of hit songwriters is to focus on bite-sized pieces. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I just mean that you don't always have to sit down and write an entire song every time. Sometimes you can be a lot more productive just focusing on one aspect of a song. One of the things I love to do is just sit down and write out ideas. And I'll brainstorm for like a half an hour, and I may get 5 or 10 great ideas. You can also pick up a guitar, go to a piano, and think of musical ideas. Play some different chords together and see what feels right. Melodies are another thing that you can do in bite-sized pieces, whether you're just humming to yourself and see what clicks and record that on a voice recorder. And finally, if you really get stumped, I like to sometimes go to free writing exercises. Just start writing with no restriction on a specific topic and just see what comes out. Now, moving right along. The third habit of hit songwriters is that they read books. You need to experience how good writers phrase their ideas. And you need to learn how good writers control pacing, drama, and the general presentation of their ideas. The best writers I've ever met are also some of the most interesting people I've ever met, and coincidentally, the most well-read. They have more than just ideas and opinions. They also have knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. The late Charlie Jones, a great speaker and motivator, once said that we are the sum of the people that we know and the books that we've read. And I have to agree. The thing is, you don't always get to choose the people you meet, but you can choose the books you read, or choose to read nothing at all. Books change and mold our perspectives. They unleash our wild and vast imagination. When you read, your mind continues to process long after you've stopped, and that's when inspiration strikes. The fourth habit of hit songwriters is to set aside time regularly. Now, songwriting can be fun, especially when the song just flows from your pen and more or less writes itself. But we all know that it's far more common to have to dig in and really wrestle with the song to get it right. People ask me a lot, how long does it take you to write a song? And for me, that's changed over the years. I used to take 2 to 3 days to write a song, or 2 to 3 sessions. More recently, I'm averaging about 6 to 8 hours to finish in a single day. If I'm completely honest, for me, the process is kind of like writing a term paper. It's not so fun while you're doing it, but you're always pretty happy with the result after you're done. Anyway, writing a song can be a daunting task, even for an experienced writer. And oftentimes the hardest part is just making the time to sit down and start. Once you're in it and it starts to take form, you get in a zone, but it's still a lot of hard work. Then when you finally finish, you sit back and you have this huge sense of relief and accomplishment, and you can't wait to share it. So anyway, I thought I'd give you just a couple tips to guide you to help you getting started in setting time aside regularly. First of all, anything is better than nothing. Even if you just have 10 or 15 minutes, remember you can do bite-sized pieces. This is where consistent regular time allows you the freedom to not have to sit down and write an entire song. Second, practice is like exercise. The more you practice, the more you write, the more finely tuned your songwriting muscles become. And third, start with 30-minute sessions. If nothing else, just start with 30 minutes a couple times a week and maybe focus on a bite-sized piece, but whatever comes out of it is fine. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Just see what comes from it. Finally, the fifth habit of hit songwriters is that they keep a recorder or notebook handy. The number of song ideas that I have lost because I didn't record them is easily into the hundreds, if not the thousands. Thankfully, smartphones have made it ridiculously easy to keep track of your ideas. If you have a melody in your head, or if you're noodling around with your instrument and something clicks, record it. Every time you sync your phone with your computer, it'll download them. I actually keep an iPod playlist of all my ideas, and whenever I'm not feeling musically inspired, I'll just dip into the well. Secondly, have a deep thoughts notepad. So for me on my iPhone, I just have a note that's called Deep Thoughts, and if I see a phrase or see something that inspires me, I'll write it down. I always go into these notes during writing sessions, and if we're feeling stuck, we'll throw out some new ideas that way. And finally, write down feeling markers. If you have an event in your life that cuts you to the core, just you feel very deeply about, write about it. Make sure that you can record that so that at a later time you can explore that with a song. So, time for a fast quiz. First of all, what are the 5 habits of hit songwriters? Try to do this again without looking back. See if you can remember them all right now. It's okay if you can't. Just pause the video right now and then come back when you're done. The second question for the fast quiz is name the 4 bite-sized pieces for starting work on a song. Again, if you have to look back, that's okay. Just pause the video and return when you're done. All right, now it's time for a fast challenge. Grab a notebook and an instrument right now. Set your timer for 30 minutes. Start with a bite-sized piece of your choice, whether it's idea, music, melody, or content, and see what comes out. Go ahead and pause the video right now, and when you're finished with your half an hour, come back. Well, that's that. Just to recap, we learned that the 5 habits of a hit songwriter are that they listen to all genres of music, focus on bite-sized pieces, they read books, set aside time regularly, and keep a notebook or recorder handy. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Now it's time to write some music.